Well, on Saturday, April 27th, two men were ordained by Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky. Nick Morganelli has the journey now of one of those friars who grew up in the parish and attended local Catholic schools.
Bishop Mitchell Rosansky was joined by several deacons and nearly 40 priests as friars Benedict and Christopher took their vows with hundreds in attendance.
He will be ordained along with one of our friars who's originally from Nigeria but studying and working in England and Ireland, our custody there as we call it, so Friar Benedict will be ordained as well. So this is a happy day for us.
Father Benedict Abugu was joined by his mother and other family members who now live locally. And Father Christopher Dudek has a history of faith with ties to the Basilica. The minister provincial's relationship with Christopher's family goes back nearly 40 years. He explains how the former pastor's chalice decades ago became a special part of the Mass for Father Dudek.
I held on to Father Josaphat's chalice, thinking that Christopher Dudek would someday be ordained a priest. And today, his mother carried Father Josaphat's chalice up the aisle and presented it to Bishop Rosansky, who presented it to Father Christopher Dudek.
Linda's mom, Christopher's 92-year-old grandmother, Emily Saluzniak, was overcome with tears of joy as her wish was to witness this day.
Of course, vocation seeds are planted by mom and dad and grandparents, and then it just grew here at the Basilica as he grew in age, and I'd say in wisdom and in grace, because he was open to the Holy Spirit.
I feel excited that it's finally, that's a long time, since 2008, that he's been waiting for this special day, and we have too.
When people ask me, are you ready? I said, after 10 years, if I'm not ready, I'll never be ready. So it's been 10 years I've been preparing. So I just feel like God has blessed me in many different ways, and I really feel like I'm prepared.
Father Christopher's pastor from his youth recalls the first steps on his journey.
His great devotion, his great attention to the Mass, and so he became one of the greatest altar servers here at the Basilica. So I kind of encouraged him also to consider to becoming a friar priest, to be of service to the church, the greater church.
Christopher's parents recall his journey to the priesthood, and it all began right here in his childhood home in Chicopee.
So at 1.5, he wanted to sit in the first row in the main church.
Yeah.
And I told him, if he's going to be quiet, well, that's fine.
Third grade, he'd become an altar server, and he did that. He'd rather do the whole thing by himself, but
right from a young age. And if somebody didn't show to be an altar server, there was Chris in the second row. We were, and he went up and he helped.
He helped.
The home, the family was always something very important. From coming together on Sundays, being together for meals, to going to church. I learned this foundation of love and really this family. And I think that the priesthood is all about relationships with others and seeing Christ in others and helping others to see Christ in their own life. And having this experience of my family and was the first place that I saw Christ.
From there, Friar Dudek continued to see Christ in people as he lived as Christ's hands, feet, and voice in the communities he served.
I, as minister provincial, sent Friar Christopher to Rome to do his theological studies. He was an outstanding student there and was exemplary, not just in his studies, but in his outreach to the poor.
They would do street evangelists. They would all go out into the street with their music and everything, play songs and sing, and all the people would gather around and they would all, sing and everything.
Christopher Dudek is a new St. Francis in my mind.
I lived with friars, I think, from about 20, 30 different countries, and seeing how the churches in all of those different countries, and even though when I got there I couldn't even speak Italian very well, but being able to share and to have that relationship with my brothers based on the faith, based on our common call, was really something that I really liked. So seeing that church universal was something that really helped me.
Father Dudek also spent time in Guatemala and Honduras. This broadened his sense of service as he witnessed how hard priests work to bring the Mass to the poor in rural areas.
And it just rained. It was raining, and there was mud, and coming down the hill, the truck started to go like off the mountain, and I was watching as we're falling down a little bit. Luckily, they are much better drivers there than I would ever be here, and they were able to go back on the track. The priests in Honduras have to travel far, and the people are waiting there because the priest only comes for once a week, once a month, meeting the people where they are, even in their poverty and where they are, and then sharing a meal with them as we did after. I think that really helped me to have a different view of the priesthood.
He's already a great preacher. He preaches from his heart, and he really touches the people. And the fact that he's so young and full of energy, I need that. We need that. This is exciting, and not to mention for his parents and family, and for us as friars. I don't just believe, I know he's going to be passionate, outspoken in the positive sense. He's great with the kids. He's tough, but the kids love him. So I'm psyched for this new friar priest.
Father Dudek's teaching and ministering to the youth at Archbishop Curley School in Baltimore is another experience that prepared him for the priesthood.
You know, that ministry with the young people have really formed me into how to minister to people, how to see Christ in the church, how to be a good minister. So I don't think that the preparation is only on the altar, giving a homily or at that, but even in the holistic approach.
It was a great celebration for the St. Stanislaus community, who is grateful for both Father Dudek and Father Abugu and for their ministries to come.
I think that this is just the beginning of a life and of many more adventures and many more ways that God will call me. So I don't see this as a graduation, an end, but really the beginning of a new life of ministry.
For Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.
And Father Christopher is likely the last from the former Holyoke Catholic High School to be ordained a priest. We certainly look forward to hearing of Father Benedict and Father Christopher's continued journeys.